In the quiet glow of dawn, a birthday became nightmare. Emily stepped into her 52nd year with soft hope. She smiled through sunlight, unaware her final morning had arrived. Her home in Westerville held memories stitched with gentle resilience. Emily carried wounds life had carved, but she kept rising. On her birthday, she walked seeking quiet in the woods. No one sensed shadows gathering around her gentle steps nearby. The world moved normally, while fate prepared a merciless turn. She returned home carrying the quiet peace she loved deeply. But in the silence of dusk, an unseen storm approached. Emily trusted the calm inside her home, unaware danger waited. She had lived through tragedies that would crush ordinary hearts. Friends said she always rose again, carrying strength within fragility. That night, her husband moved through the house in silence. Emily slept unaware the balance of her life teetered dangerously. Morning came, and with a haunting emptiness that felt wrong. Her car stayed parked, her belongings untouched, her presence missing. Neighbours sensed unease, spreading like cold breath through the street. Search teams gathered, hearts pounding, fearing what truth might surface. Volunteers stepped into woods, whispering prayers, hoping she was safe. But every passing hour felt heavier, pressing shadows across hope. Officers knocked gently, yet urgency trembled beneath their voices today. Emily had vanished, leaving silence that echoed through every room. Fear crept into hearts as investigators studied her final steps. Her sister waited by phone, praying for one hopeful sign. But hope dimmed as officers expanded search lines into forest. Every rustling leaf stirred dread, whispering truths no one wanted. The woods felt heavier, carrying secrets buried beneath gentle soil. Emily had loved these trails, yet they now echoed fear. Detectives wondered if tragedy unfolded quietly while darkness surrounded her. Each passing moment tightened tension, gripping everyone searching for truth. Her gentle spirit deserved answers, not silence echoing through woods. Morning light faded, leaving investigators deep in uncertainty and fear. They followed faint clues, hoping her story still held breath. But truth remained hidden like a shadow waiting in darkness. Hearts trembled as each discovery deepened fear around her disappearance. Emily had survived grief before, but this silence felt different. Something unseen pressed heavily across the narrative unfolding around her. The search widened, and whispers spread through town, carrying dread. Families prayed that Emily would return, stepping back into light. Yet tension rose, gripping every heart as hours slipped away. Investigators feared the woods held answers hidden within silent shadows. Emily felt close, yet impossibly distant, like breath slipping away. The community waited, bracing for truth that threatened shatter peace. Searchers stepped carefully, knowing every leaf might hide final clues. Night crept forward, pressing dread against hearts, waiting for answers. Emily's story now hovered between hope and tragedy, forming suspense. Every step investigators took felt heavier, shaping a chilling narrative. The forest seemed to breathe, holding secrets wrapped in silence. And still, Emily remained missing, suspended between fear and darkness. In the days after Emily vanished, fear seeped deeper into every corner of Westerville. Search teams stretched farther into the woods, their footsteps heavy with dread. Volunteers whispered prayers under their breath, hoping she still breathed somewhere. Emily, gentle and small, had always walked these woods with trust, not fear. Now every fallen branch felt like a warning, every silence felt unnatural. Detectives replayed the timeline again and again, searching for missing pieces. Her belongings remained untouched, at home keys, wallet phone, all still there. Nothing suggested she left willingly, and nothing suggested she ran from danger. This absence felt deliberate, as if something or someone had removed her quietly. Her husband spoke with officers, but unease coated every word he shared. He told them he awoke to an empty home with unsettling calm. He mentioned details without emotion, and officers felt instinct tightening in their chest. Still no evidence pointed to anything certain, only shadows of possibilities. Emily's sister Amy clutched photographs, praying her voice would crack the silence. For years, the sisters shared birthdays, dreams, and sorrow bound tightly by love. Now, Amy faced a fear she never imagined, a birthday ending in tragedy. Investigators expanded the search grid with urgency, guided by gut, not certainty. Dogs moved through brush, picking up faint trails, lost suddenly without explanation. Every scent vanished like something swallowed whole by the forest around them. The woods near her home were dense, familiar, yet strangely ominous now. Emily loved foraging here, picking edible plants, documenting sunrise moments joyfully. But this time, the forest felt colder, darker, as though it hid a secret. Officers wondered if her walks had taken her into danger she never saw coming. Still, nothing made sense as hours turned into days and hope grew fragile. Detective Grubbs felt a heaviness he could not explain tugging at his instincts. Something about the husband's story felt shaped, arranged almost too carefully recited. He noted how he avoided searching the condo and relied on phone apps. It struck investigators as odd, unsettling, as if distance protected him from truth. Friends whispered concerns, remembering bruises on Emily's arm weeks before disappearance. Her removed wedding ring suggested tensions in the marriage, unspoken but felt. Yet Emily was known to fight through pain, always choosing resilience over surrender. So how could this silence swallow her so completely without a trace or witness? Community members left candles on her doorstep, praying her spirit remained strong. Officers walked through the condo, again feeling a strange stillness in every room. Nothing felt disturbed, but nothing felt right, a quiet hiding something beneath calm. They stepped outside, studying the woods again, imagining Emily's final steps there. Her phone silent since 6, the evening before her disappearance, created questions. Her husband's phone active all night, created more questions, twisting investigators' focus. Everything pointed to unanswered mysteries circling the home she once treasured. Night approached again, and officers braced for another day without answers. But deep in the woods, a secret waited still, untouched by human eyes. A secret that would soon rise and shatter the fragile hope surrounding Emily's story. The third day of searching arrived with trembling hearts. Emily's presence still missing felt like a wound across the town. Detectives gathered at sunrise, knowing hope was thinning. The cold morning air carried a heaviness that refused to lift. Every volunteer felt it in their bones as they prepared again. The woods had become a maze of fear and unanswered truth. Officers stepped forward with new search grids mapped across forest lines. They prayed silently that this day would end the nightmare. But deep inside each soul, a quiet dread continued to grow. Emily had always been a gentle spirit, loved across the community. To imagine her lost alone frightened everyone who carried her memory. Friends stood nearby, holding warm cups that could not calm their shaking. No one slept well since the first night she vanished without trace. His husband stood behind the crowd with an expression no one understood. His eyes distant, his posture cold, unlike the grieving partner he claimed to be. Detectives noticed the stiff way he breathed, the lack of tears, the silence. Yet no one spoke it aloud, not yet, not until facts formed truth. Officers started the new sweep, walking deeper than previous searches had reached. The forest felt different that morning, almost watchful, almost waiting. Branches swayed in slow movements, like whispers, carrying a message they could not translate. A tracking dog halted near a narrow ravine, sniffing intensely at the soil. Handlers leaned down, their hearts racing with fearful anticipation. The dog barked, once short, sharp, urgent. Detectives rushed forward, breathing in cold air that felt heavier than before. They knelt, studying disturbed leaves scattered near the edge. Footprints, faint but human-shaped, cut across the muddy patch. They matched a woman's shoe size, small, fragile, like Emily's steps. The team froze, feeling the world tighten around them. A lead had finally surfaced, but dread pulsed through every heartbeat. Officers called for a drone to scan the ravine, hoping for clarity. The drone lifted, buzzing softly through morning light, tracing slow, careful paths. Everyone watched the monitor, breath held, bodies, stiff eyes fixed. A pale shape flickered between branches below. The image blurred, then refocused, showing fabric soft blue and familiar. Emily's favorite walking shirt, the one she always wore on quiet outings. The air left the room inside their chests as reality approached. Search teams scrambled down the ravine, slipping on damp stone and roots. Each step felt like descending into a truth no heart wanted to hold. The silence of the forest deepened as they reached the bottom. Then the world shattered. A still figure lay beside the waterbank, gentle and unmoving. Her hair brushed across her face, as if wind tried to comfort her. Emily had been found, but not alive, not breathing, not rising again. A cry broke from one volunteer, a sound raw enough to tear. Detectives bowed their heads, letting grief crest over them. But even through tears, suspicion sharpened. This was no accident. The bruises, the positioning, the signs whispered of violence. Someone had done this, someone who knew her, someone close. The discovery of Emily sent shockwaves through the community. Her body lay in the woods where she had walked so often alive and free. Now, the silence around her was heavy with questions that demanded answers. Officers moved carefully, studying the scene, each detail weighed on their minds. The position of her limbs, the objects near her told a story both haunting and puzzling. Her water bottle lay beside her, a small hint of daily life interrupted. The wedding rings she removed rested on the ground next to her hand. Investigators noted the black USB cord wrapped tightly around her neck. No signs of struggle remained around her body, yet everything screamed foul play. The forensic team arrived, bringing lights, cameras, and careful hands. They photographed each inch of the scene, preserving evidence for the investigation. Detectives walked slowly, tracing paths she may have taken before her death. The woods that had felt protective moments before now loomed menacing and silent. Emily's small frame, fragile and delicate, contrasted with the violence that touched her. Every officer present felt the weight of her life and the cruelty that ended it. Her family received the news in disbelief, struggling to comprehend reality. Amy clutched photos she had held close, praying for one more smile from her sister. The town mourned quietly, holding candles in parks and along streets. No one had imagined a birthday turning into this permanent absence. Police began piecing together the timeline from her last known moments alive. Emily had spent the morning in light, tracing paths she loved and documenting sunrise. She had smiled, taken photos, walked in joy, unaware of what fate held. Her husband told officers he had awoken to an empty home, claiming confusion and worry. Detectives studied every message, every phone call, noting inconsistencies in his story. Emily's phone had ceased activity hours before the time he reported waking. Phone data painted a chilling timeline of silence and possible deception. Neighbours recounted seeing Emily returning from errands, enjoying her day like any other. The puzzle grew more complex, each testimony layering tension and doubt. Her past tragedies weighed on hearts as investigators considered motives. They remembered her first husband's suicide, the loss of her parents, the grief she endured. Emily had survived before, but this time survival was stolen cruelly from her hands. Officers walked the surrounding woods, repeatedly retracing paths under grey skies. Every rustle of leaves, every shadow created spikes of fear and anticipation. The forensic team found fractures in her hyoid bone signs pointing to strangulation. Other injuries indicated blunt force trauma, contradicting assumptions of suicide. Experts debated, each finding their voices measured, but urgency hung heavy in the air. The evidence told a story of manipulation, planning, and cruelty that could not be ignored. Yet nothing linked directly to a perpetrator except circumstantial shadows surrounding her husband. The community waited with bated breath, struggling to reconcile horror with disbelief. Emily's small, resilient spirit had vanished, leaving only questions in her wake. Her story was now etched in the town forever, a haunting reminder of unseen danger. Investigators worked tirelessly, piecing fragments together, determined to honor her life. Every step forward deepened suspense, every detail exposed raw emotion. The woods themselves seemed to hold the truth, hidden from those searching desperately for answers. The investigation into Emily's death intensified with each passing day. Detectives retraced her final steps, piecing together a timeline full of tension. Her husband's story grew more complicated, with every message and call examined. Phone data revealed gaps, inconsistencies, and moments that did not align. Investigators felt unease twisting in their chests as they studied his movements. Emily had been the steady center of her family, carrying grief and joy alike. Now every detail of her life was being dissected by strangers seeking truth. Officers returned to the condo, examining floors, walls, and closets for anything overlooked. They documented every corner, every shadow, hoping to uncover hidden evidence. Her belongings remained untouched, a silent testament to her abrupt disappearance. Volunteers continued to search the surrounding woods, their footsteps careful, deliberate. Every leaf, every fallen branch was scrutinized as if nature itself hid secrets. Detectives studied forensic reports, analyzing fractures and trauma with painstaking precision. The hyoid bone fractures indicated manual strangulation, a chilling revelation. Other skeletal injuries suggested her death had been staged to appear as suicide. Officers struggled to reconcile evidence, with timeline conflicting statements and emotions. Her husband denied wrongdoing, claiming confusion, grief, and love for Emily. Yet investigators noticed subtle slips, the way he spoke the past tense, as if she were already gone. Friends recalled bruises the week before her disappearance, warning signs quietly ignored. Neighbors shared memories small and mundane of Emily life, like breadcrumbs, leading to a deeper truth. Search teams uncovered nothing new, yet tension mounted with every hour spent in the woods. Emily's body had been found, but the mystery surrounding her final moments remained unresolved. Officers focused on every detail, the placement of items, the condition of the scene, the smallest inconsistencies. The town itself felt suspended between grief and fear as news spread through the community. Emily's sister Amy spoke softly into cameras, urging anyone with knowledge to come forward. Her voice trembled, carrying love, fear, and desperation all at once. The media covered each development, highlighting fractures in forensic conclusions. Experts debated each finding, creating a storm of opinions that confused the public. Prosecutors studied every piece of evidence, crafting a case that could withstand scrutiny. Detectives reviewed hours of interviews, searching for contradictions hidden in plain sight. Emily's life became a puzzle, each memory a piece of something larger than anyone had imagined. The woods that once held solace now carried shadows of tragedy, fear, and suspicion. Every step taken by investigators felt like moving closer to a truth that could shatter lives. Her husband's behavior was studied with intense focus, each gesture, each expression analyzed. No direct evidence linked him, yet every circumstantial clue painted a picture of possible guilt. Emily's resilience in life now contrasted sharply with vulnerability in death. The story was no longer just about disappearance, it had become a search for justice for a life stolen. The community held its breath, waiting for answers that seemed to drift further with every passing day. Every night the forest whispered secrets, only partially revealed to those brave enough to seek them. Investigators pressed on, knowing that only through patience, persistence, and careful study could they uncover what truly happened. The suspense remained taut and unyielding as the pieces slowly began to take shape. The trial of Emily's death gripped the town with tension and fear. Officers and prosecutors presented timelines, evidence, and expert analysis in court. The courtroom filled with family, friends, and community members, each seeking answers. Emily's sister Amy sat quietly clutching photographs, remembering her gentle, resilient spirit. Prosecutors laid out the case, step by step, showing inconsistencies in the husband's story. They described fractures, injuries, and signs of staging that indicated foul play. Experts testified about the hyoid bone blunt force trauma and strangulation. Defense attorneys argued mishandled evidence, procedural errors, and absence of direct proof. The jury listened intently, absorbing the weight of every statement, every report. Emily's life story became central to the proceedings, illustrating the hardships she overcame. They recounted her parents' deaths, the suicide of her first husband, and her own struggles. The contrast of her resilience with the circumstances of her death painted a haunting narrative. Witnesses described bruises, warning signs, and tension in her marriage quietly ignored. Investigators explained how phone data timelines and activities contradicted statements. Despite the evidence, tension remained palpable uncertainty hovering over every argument. His husband appeared distraught, his face marked by exhaustion, grief, and tension. He denied wrongdoing, maintaining confusion and innocence through the proceedings. The prosecution presented forensic experts highlighting each injury and its implications. They explained how manual strangulation could not be mistaken for suicide staging. Defense focused on gaps in investigation, missing DNA, and absence of eyewitnesses. The trial became a battle of interpretation of facts, emotions, and evidence. Every day brought new revelations, questions, and emotional testimony. The jury saw Emily's life in vivid detail, the hardships she survived, the love she shared. Her absence felt present in every corner of the courtroom, a silent witness to her story. The final arguments emphasized both the circumstantial evidence and her resilience in life. Prosecutors urged the jury to consider the patterns, the actions, and the evidence. Defense pleaded for reasonable doubt, citing errors and missing physical proof. Every heart in the room felt the weight of what justice meant in the absence of certainty. Days passed with testimony, closing arguments, and deliberations carrying suspense to the edge. Finally, the verdict arrived, bringing relief, sorrow, confusion, and contemplation in equal measure. Her husband was acquitted, leaving lingering questions about the truth and what really happened. Emily's family grieved silently, holding the memory of her gentle smile and unbroken spirit. The case left the community reflecting on the limits of investigation and justice. The woods that had carried her steps still held secrets waiting silently beneath the trees. Her life, a testament to resilience and strength, remained vivid even in absence. The story ended in uncertainty, yet continued in memory, hope, and questions unanswered. Emily Noble disappeared from life, yet her presence echoed through the hearts of those who loved her. Her journey through triumph, tragedy, and finally loss reminded everyone of fragility of life. The birthday that began with joy ended in mystery, heartbreak, and enduring suspense. The town remained haunted by her absence, seeking closure that may never fully arrive. Her story became legend, a cautionary tale, a reminder to treasure life, love, and the fragile trust we place in others. Emily's legacy lingered quietly, strong, resilient, and unforgettable.